Hey guys, National Master Coach Bahis here. Today, I'm going to show you one of the teaching methodologies we use in Chess Advanced Chess School. We believe to improve in chess is not enough just to read books or watch videos. It is important to also practice whatever was learned during the lesson. So we in Chess Advanced use our own chess teaching methodology. We split the lesson in three. The first part of the lesson is about learning chess, let's say strategies, tactics, middle game problems, or end game techniques, right? The second part, students receive an assignment. So after the lesson, they're supposed to do assignment. Assignments help master what was learned in the class, right, during the lesson. And finally, students practice a certain positions against each other. So students going to play against each other, the position that was covered during the lesson, and assignments. As an example, I'm going to show you a Greek gift sacrifice today. It'll just be a short video. So I usually, like in Chess Advance, we, not only me, all coaches use chess-based software for the lesson. But it doesn't have to be chess-based. It is also fine if you do lesson on Lichess or chess.com. So there is not big difference. So the first part of the lesson is about teaching. So we're gonna show, for example, let's say we're gonna cover today Greek gift sacrifice. In this position, so it is White's turn. Let's try to understand the position, what's going on here. So this position is not from the game. We just randomly set up the position, and we trying to learn today sacrifice on h7 square. In order to sacrifice on h7, before doing so, I want to explain you like purpose and which position it works, right? So here, Black King has castled, so we see Black King on g8, and right now White bishops, both bishops are aiming at the king side, the light square bishop on h7, and the other bishops attacking along this h6 square. Therefore, there is no any black pieces yet, but the bishop on c1 is also very important right now, and participating in this attack. So the point of this sacrifice on h7 is that we want to do it with check so that to lure this Black King to h7, and then White is planning to bring the knight to g5. That would be another check. So, and then after that, we are as White trying to get the queen to h5 and eventually checkmate on that h7 square. So notice here bishop on c1, again it's very important so that after knight goes to g5, the knight is going to be protected by the bishop on c1. So also queen needs to be on this diagonal somewhere so that the queen is able to go to h5 after knight goes to g5, right? It doesn't have to be on e2, it can be on d1 or it can be on f3, let's say, or some different square where the queen is able to go to h5. So also works. The pawn on e5 is very important also because the pawn on e5, in some situations, the pawn helps the White to attack those two squares and trap the Black King and checkmate. So in this position, White sacrificed the bishop on h7, check. Okay. So now in this position, Black either take or move king to h8. Well, if Black doesn't take and let's say it goes to h8, then White is going to still attack the king and without losing any material. So here, and we just can go bishop back, and the king is really vulnerable here, and king is exposed, and still White is trying to get the knight to g5, queen h5, and checkmate on h7. So that's why usually Black takes on h7. After takes, now we play knight to g5 check. So notice the knight is protected by the bishop on c1. So that's why bishop, it's very important to have a bishop when you sacrifice. Attacking king. Now usually in this position, after check, Black has 4 squares to go. It's g8, g6, h8, and h6. First of all, let's go over h8. So that's the worst move in this position because now White does mate in 2. So the main idea was to bring the queen after knight goes to g5. So queen h5, that's going to be check. King moves to g8, and queen goes to h7, and that would be checkmate. Of course, during the lesson, we're not just going to show and explain the moves. Not only this, we are also encourage students to answer the questions. So we ask them questions. For example, here, like might ask, okay, what's the best move for white in this position? So, or how can white checkmate in two moves? So students are encouraged to always answer, raise hands. So if we do lesson virtually online, they raise a virtual hand, or just they can type in the chat. So they, for example, say, okay, queen goes to h5 check, and then queen h7, right? So, or yeah. So in this position, as we know, king goes to h8 is bad. Let's say king goes to h6, another option for black to move the king to h6. This is also one of the let's say not the best one. This is bad move because king right now end up on the same diagonal as the bishop, right, and knight here. So we can just do double check, for example, with knight attacking the king with bishop and the knight, and also attacking the queen. So here we're just winning material by taking the queen on the next move. So those moves usually worst one, h8 and h6. So black should consider to go into g8 or g6. So let's go over first g8. If the king goes to g8, now again we hear pause, right? We don't like go over and like coach is not just gonna explain every move. We should always like ask students, all right, what's the best move in this position? So how can white threaten mate, for example, on h7? We, depending on students' level, we try to break down the, positions and make, easy questions like what's the, for example, get the queen to h7. We don't like ask, okay, what's the best move, right? So it might be tricky. The best move might be queen d3, for example, trying to get here, or queen h5. What's the best? And so and we try to make it easier. So here in this position, white should bring the queen to h5. So after queen h5, queen is not only attacking on h7, queen is also aiming at this f7. In certain positions, it is very important to, instead of, for example, going to h7, taking on f7. So threatening mate in 1. Now, if black will take the knight, black will manage to stop the mate, but in that case, white just will capture back with bishop, and this is winning position for white because white has extra material. If black plays, for example, f6, this doesn't help. Knight is still attacking this f7, so queen h7 would be checkmate. So in this position, usually rook goes to e8. Now, here, all right, in this position, actually, it is enough to checkmate the king by playing queen h7. Okay, we do check, and after king goes to f8, now we don't play this queen h8 because king can escape, from dangerous position. Instead, here we have very important intermediate move. Bishop moves to a3, checking the king and trying to force the black to blockade this e7 square. So it's queen or rook, right? Whenever they blockade the check like this, now king can escape to e7. We just do queen h8 and checkmate. But it's not likely that white has this kind of move, queen a3. It might be because black has a pawn on c5, or maybe white has a pawn on b2, so bishop cannot move here. For that reason, here we have another option here to checkmate. So we first take on f7 check. Okay, before doing this queen h7, queen h8, and queen takes g7, we need to remove the pawn on f7. King goes back to h8. Now we play queen to h5, check. King goes to g8. Now we play queen h7, check. Notice it's safe, knight is protecting. King goes here. Now check. King has only one square, e7, and queen takes on g7, and this is checkmate. So if you remember, previously we tried to do checkmate with queen h8, queen h7, and take. That wouldn't work because there was still pawn on f7. But now we capture first pawn, and then we return back to queen h5, h7, queen h8, queen g7, and that was a mate because right now attacking king. And notice again, the pawn on e5 is a very important piece when we sacrifice bishop because pawn is covering d6 square, and in some cases f6 also. So here we have very nice checkmate. So let's go back. Let's go back in this position. When we did check with knight, now king can go to g6. Okay, so I think this is the best. In most cases, this is the best option for the black to go king to g6. King right now looks very dangerous. Very in a danger position because it's right in front of the pawns, not opposite. king's supposed to be behind of the pawns, behind of the pieces, not in front of it. But here, it's not that obvious. How can white continue his attack? Usually in this position, white has 3 ways to continue attack, or 4 ways. So one of them is h4. Okay, so h4, the idea is to play then h5 and then lure this king to h6 so that we can again do that discover check by moving the knight away, and then bishop attack the king. So one of the option is h4. But this h4 works better when we still not castle, when we have rook on h1. So h4 works better in that case. Right now, I think after h4, black can try to play rook h8 and stop this h5 move. So another option is here to play queen to g4. So preparing discover check by moving the knight to e6. That would be check with king, that was queen, and knight would attack the queen on d8. So that's another option. But then we should consider playing f5. Black should consider playing f5, and the game might be very sharp. So right in this position, the best option is the third option is to play queen to d3 or queen to c2 check, like this. Okay, queen c2 check. So depending on situation, we can go queen d3, somewhere queen g4 or h4, depending on situation. In this position, we need to play queen c2, checking the king. Now, if king goes to h6, then we have mate in 1, queen h7, checkmate. If king goes to h5, then that would be mate in 2. We first go here, check. King goes here, and then we play queen to h3. Very unusual checkmate. So the king has no square to go. And that's why black will go f5. Okay, so after f5, don't forget this pawn, black pawn, has moved 2 squares, and you have your e5 pawn. Okay, so you should take advantage of this situation, your pawn on e5. Okay, so you have a very important move right now. So I noticed a lot of students just ignores this move or just forgets about this possibility, and they don't do like en passant. So here en passant is the best option, because by doing en passant, we remove the pawn and again checking the king. So now king has nothing again hide behind, so king has to take the pawn if doesn't want to checkmate it in 1 or 2 moves. So king takes. Now we play queen to c6 check, attacking king. So the king has now 2 squares to f5 and e5 and e7. By the way, 3 ways. If he goes to e7, then it's mate in 1, queen e6. If he goes to e5, f5, let's say, then we just go queen to e6. That's going to be checkmate. And queen e5, here we have a couple of ways to win the game. So in this position, if king goes to e5, we just play f4 move check. So after f4 check, we try to make the king go to d4, and if king does that, we can just play knight e6, attacking king, attacking queen, attacking rook. So we're doing family fork here, and white is winning material. If they capture with rook, then we first capture the rook, and again, king either needs to take this bishop or go to d4, and either way we have knight fork was knight e6 and take the queen, and that's going to be winning. So this was just one examples on how this Greek gift sacrifice works. Okay, we have a couple of examples, not just one example. So we have a lot of examples here, but today I'm just going to make it short, and I'm just going to show you one example. And now I will show you how we do assignments right after this. So, all right, now as an example, I'm going to show you the assignments that we do right after the lesson. So every student gets assignment on Lichess chess. Okay, we already prepare a certain positions accordingly depending on what we learned today, right? So we, for example, learned today Greek gift sacrifice. Students right after the lesson, they receive assignment, and they need to do those lessons by their own. So here it says, what would you play in this position? So it's your turn, right? It's white's turn, and they need to do it. Okay, that's the second part of our lesson. So first part lesson was about learning strategies, right? Learning whatever was according to our list. So, for example, today we'll learn about the bishop h7 sacrifice, Greek gift sacrifice, and they receive a assignment on this. So, as an example, I'm going to show you how it works. So, in this position, white's turn, and white should play. So, students should look for sacrifice on h7. Before sacrificing, they should make sure white has all necessary pieces to attack, right? The bishop, for example, that's the main pieces that we need to sacrifice on h7. We have a knight, which is able to go to g5. We have queen after knight, so which is also able to go to h5. We have dark square bishop, not on c5 as an example, on f4, but still works. Bishop is covering this g5 square. We have also e5 pawn. So here we go. Sacrifice, takes, check, here. So as we know, this is the worst scenario. So we're just gonna go here, check, and checkmate. Okay, so congratulations, the lesson is completed. Next chapter. Now we have the same position, but this time the king is going to play on a different square, king h6, right? So here I either take on e6 or f7, and that's going to be a discard check and take the queen, and that's going to be enough for winning. So sacrifice, takes, check, and here we should play queen h5. So here, if students make mistake, that happens, and there is nothing wrong about that. For example, here I'm supposed to take on f7, but I'm gonna do this check, and if I do a mistake, it says retry, so I should find a better move. Okay, the students should not rush, and should take time and find the best move. Check here, check, check. So as you remember, we should first grab the pawn f7, and then we go after this and checkmate. So again, we have strong pawn here, and like this. So we do. Now let's do the last move. So here, and in this position, since we didn't castle yet, we can play h4. So let's do h4. Oh, h4 is not the best move here. Actually, h4 should work, and then it was h5, but probably there is an even better move. Maybe g4. So takes. So unfortunately, on Lichess, we can't set up the puzzles with the two correct answers. It has to be one of these. Okay, so is probably in the game was played this queen g4 move. That's why it is asking only queen g4. If they play h4, they are still correct. But in order to pass this test, they should play queen g4 move. So takes, should we play queen g3? Probably yes. Okay, do we have any discovery check? Maybe check. Okay, well maybe just second. So this should work because that's check and attack the queen, right? But probably I have mate somewhere here, so I should find it. All right, that's also not correct, and so it requires from students to find the correct move. Okay, and if for some reason students can't find this move, okay, they're allowed to just skip to the next puzzle and return to this number 4 later on. So right now they did 3, I did 3, and 4 I can't find a move, for example. And then I go to next puzzle. All right, so next puzzle, different position, and I need to do it. And then after I finish all of these, I return to back to 4, and I need to try to find it. And that's the second part about our lesson. So second part of our lesson is about assignment. After they do it, now it's time to pair the students with each other, and they're going to play certain positions. The topic that was covered on that day. Today we covered Greek gift sacrifice. So students are going to play Greek gift sacrifice positions with each other. It is also possible to create a chess tournament with this position. Let's say you are seeing right now on the screen. It is possible on Lichess to create a chess tournament with this position. So every position is going to start like this, right? So you play, for example, white. In the next game, you're going to play black, and you're going to be, you need to defend the position. That's the most, let's say, effective way to improve in chess. So you learn, and then you practice it. You do assignments, right? And then you practice on the real game. You play it with someone. So this is the third part of the lesson. So as an example, I just create a position, random position was like bishop sacrifice on h7. So students, uh, as a coach, we already have these positions on created already for the students. They can just play from here, for example. But just for myself, I want to show you how it works. I'm going to create this position and play against the computer. How to play against the computer. So here I click continue from here and play with computer. And let's say we are going to pick a robot or computer, let's say 6. And we play with white because we want to sacrifice. So I'm playing against a strong computer, right? Level 6, and I need to play that. Bishop sacrifice, and he's going to play. So, alright, I'm not going to continue this position. As just an example, I was today going to show you how Chess Advanced Chess School does chess lesson. So, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.